Well, good morning, everyone. This is Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencers Podcast. I'm so glad you're here with us this morning, and we're so fortunate to have CEO of Angel Awaken Coaching and Training, Angel Aviles, today. So I want to bring her in right now and say hello to Angel.
Hello, Dr. Bill. Thank you for having me.
So good you're here, all the way from California, getting up early. Thank you for doing that.
I'm actually in Mexico right now, but it's only an hour earlier, but absolutely, I wouldn't have missed it.
That's right. You told me you were going down to Mexico, and you live in two places. You live in Mexico and in California, right?
Correct.
Wonderful. Well, congratulations on being uh, able to travel between places so easily, so close.
Definitely a blessing.
Yeah. Well, let's go ahead and find out all about you because this influencer podcast is really all about our guest, and we want to know where you were, what happened, who you were surrounded by that inspired you to do what you're doing today.
Absolutely. Well, as we were discussing before the show began, I'm Latina. I was born and raised in the Bronx in New York City. Born to a lower middle class family, so we didn't have a lot of financial resources, but we definitely had brain power. My parents were very well educated, so they encouraged us to also go after our education, pursue creative activities, etc. I was blessed and fortunate enough to do exactly that. I graduated from the High School of Performing Arts, which is the Fame School. I don't know if you've seen that show or if you
Yes,
remember.
indeed.
Yes. So I was able to go to that school. I graduated. I went on to a career in theater. I did go to college, but I left to pursue my career. Moved to the East Coast. Moved from the East Coast, New York City, to the West Coast. Um, was a successfully working actress through the 90s. Had a wonderful family, had three children, was married, had the house in Los Angeles, had a thriving career. Decided that I wanted to pursue something else. So I went back to school and I went into multimedia production, which allowed me to get into marketing. Everything was going great till about age 38 when I had my first panic attack. And this panic attack led to a series of debilitating panic and anxiety episodes. And for about a year and a half, I just sat in this incredible darkness. And finally, I emerged out of that time and I really decided to pursue my overall body, mind, and spirit wellness. And a blog emerged. And from that blog, a coaching practice. And from that coaching practice, an influencing career.
Well, that sounds a lot like the greatest failure story was identified, and that panic attack was such a huge shift, a titanic shift for you in your career.
It was a shift in my life. I wasn't expecting it, but it came with power and it really destroyed so much in my life. It destroyed everything that I thought I knew about myself, about what I had built, what I wanted. But it recreated in me something that was so integral to my survival, to my joy, to my happiness, and to my ability to really help other people, which is one of the most important things in my life.
Sounds like you came back very well. With your experience in coaching people and all, give me some ideas about your experience of why other people fail.
Well, primarily, I think people fail in coaching because they want to fix people, and people are not fixable. Coaching is about establishing a relationship based on a lot of questions, based on establishing a goal and really helping someone get to that goal. If we're not establishing goals for ourselves that are smart, sustainable, realistic, healthy, it's impossible to coach somebody beyond what they're truly able to do within themselves, what they've been able to identify within themselves. Number two is not realizing that coaching is a business. coaching is a business. If you don't treat it like a business, it's not you and your best friends getting together. I've had a lot of great relationships with my coaching clients, but it's really important to remember that you want to sustain your business. And the third thing about coaching is that I think people give up easily. They forget that just like everything else, it requires discipline, and it requires you to keep going.
That's pretty much my experience too, coaching dentists as I have for 15, 20 years. I found that the winners always win, the losers continue their losing streak, and there's a great middle in between that gets partial results. So I can see the reasons people fail, and you've nailed it. Tell me what motivates you, internally, Angel.
What motivates me internally is that I've been in a dark hole and I never want to be there again. And so I think that for those of us who have felt deep uh, feelings of failure, deep depression, you can either fall into fear or be motivated not to go there again. And so I continue to grow in my understanding of what's going to keep me out of that space and what's going to keep me growing, so I don't ever have to be there again.
Excellent. Tell me, Angel Awakened sounds like a new beginning. What is your motto actually for Angel Awakened Coaching?
You nailed it. It's actually it's an awakening on every level. It's an awakening because it happens on a regular basis. We don't have one awakening in life. We are constantly awakening. We awaken every day, hopefully, because when we don't, we're no longer part of the human experience. So I wanted Angel Awakened to be a constant evolution of how we can grow and be.
So it's like being renewed daily.
Absolutely.
I like that. Tell us your 3 success secrets that we can model from.
This is really interesting because I feel like they change depending on where I am in life. I think that success depends on one, being completely present. Where you are today does not matter. It doesn't matter what you did 10 years ago. It doesn't matter what you did 5 years ago. And maybe sometimes it doesn't matter what you did yesterday. Today, being totally present in your body, in your mind, in your spirit, and working to the best of your ability from where you are right there and then. Number 2 is sort of like being present, but in a moment of panic or craziness or chaos, just press the pause button. You can stop, unless, of course, it's some fire emergency, like physical life or death emergency. Our brains get triggered to believe that we are living in fire emergency, life or death situations, and it's really not. We have to reformat, we have to deconstruct that thought and realize that not everything is an emergency. We can press the pause button. And number 3, again, is don't give up. I feel like so many people give up before they have their breakthrough. It's so important that you are connected enough to your goals that you know that you don't have to give up. You may have a hard day, but don't stop.
From what you're telling me, it sounds like what I learned back 30 years ago from the S program, Warner Earhart: be here now, be present. And then I learned
Yes.
later on it only takes 5 seconds of boldness to begin. And so you can overcome your fear by just beginning. So I think your lessons are well oiled and well grounded in what's been true for decades. And people should really take that under consideration when they want to be successful. Learn from Angel Aviles. She's got the secrets. Tell us why somebody should become your client, why they should buy your services.
I think if someone doesn't have the confidence to pursue the things that they know that they deserve deep down, they just haven't had a practice of becoming confident and bold, One of the greatest things that happens with my clients is that they detoxify their life. They detoxify either living in their same situation. So, for example, someone who maybe is at a job that they don't love, detoxifying that environment requires them to either leave or stay under different conditions. And the most important condition is the condition of the mind, right? So, not staying and behaving in the same way, or not creating boundaries. So someone who wants to become more confident in asking for a raise, in quitting a job, in leaving a relationship, these are the clients that I work with and that I have a lot of success with.
Who is that ideal client then?
My ideal client typically is a woman, although I've worked with couples as well. And she is that midlife, mid-career woman who wants to definitely make a change. Maybe she doesn't even know why she wants to change, but she knows something is amiss.
Do you find your ideal client is typically younger or older?
I find my ideal client is exactly where I was when I had my transformation, my breakthrough. She's typically younger than me, but I wouldn't say, she's not a millennial typically.
What about finding these ideal clients? How do you go about locating them and bringing them into your sphere of influence?
So that's really interesting because my clients come from all over. I have a huge social media following. It's about 100,000 people now across across several platforms. And so a lot of people find me via thank you. A lot of people find me via my social media. Also a lot of word of mouth. I get a lot of word of mouth clients.
I believe that's the best of all. You know, when we develop concepts of training dentists to become successful, we always said you need to focus on the word of mouth development because 50% of your clients will come from word of mouth, but 80% of your revenue may come from that 50%.
Absolutely, absolutely. And also, just as a coach who has had to learn how to grow my business, don't be afraid to ask for those testimonials, and don't be afraid to post them socially as well. I think sometimes people think about themselves bragging, but that's just not the case. It's really important that we share what we do and we share the successes that our clients are having.
You always call that social proof. Have social proof of what you've done because people are looking to associate themselves with winners, successful people, and people that do create results. Speaking of results, what products and services would you say you have to offer?
I have a coaching practice, and so I offer two programs in that coaching practice: one-on-one coaching, and that's where, of course, I meet with a client for between 45 minutes and an hour, and we just do laser coaching. And then I have a group coaching practice, which we do on Saturday mornings at 7:30 a.m. Pacific. And that's an amazing group of dynamic women. It's sort of more like a mastermind with a small coaching segment of about 15 minutes and more masterminding for the remainder. So those are the two coaching programs that I offer.
Well, thank you for sharing that. And I'll give you a chance at the end to give us links to connect to each of these. What about your competition? Do you look at it as something that you need to be competitive and crush your competition? Or do you basically say everybody share and it's an open door?
I don't feel like I need to crush anybody. I think that in my world, I have an amazing life. And so I haven't felt the need to live scarcely. And I know that my clients are for me. And if somebody else has clients, I feel bad if someone goes to someone and they have a bad coaching experience and they don't get the results. But I don't feel like I need to crush competition. When people are looking for coaches, I do hope that they do some due diligence, that they do some research, and they find the right person for them, because sometimes coaches just come up out of nowhere and they don't know what they're talking about. So
You know, I always felt the same way that in my profession, when I heard people talking that weren't actually dentists, they tended to drift into places where they really shouldn't go because they didn't really understand the profession like an insider would. So if you're an outsider and you try to pretend that you're a coach, people smell that difference real quick, and it's not the same.
Yeah, and also like if it sounds like so awesome, like there's so many people online that are talking about these results that I mean just do your due diligence. Do your due diligence so that you can be safe and you can get the results that you want. Slow and steady wins the race. So don't be in a rush to make that $1 million. Don't be in a rush to have this incredible thing happen in your life. Incredible things happen every day, but do your due diligence and work with the right people so that you can get the results that you want and that you need and that you deserve.
Yeah, this will be a very interesting question for you, Angel. What are the three top online platforms that you and your coaching practice rely upon to reach the public, to get out your message?
That is an interesting question because each program, each platform has a different demographic, and I'm very, very cognizant of that, of those things. So I would say that, for instance, on TikTok, which is new for me, I've become an influencer. Um, and so I might be posting certain things. I post small advice on TikTok and also a lot of business advice. On Instagram, my beauty videos are the most successful. And so people started asking me about my skin and this, and all of a sudden about 50, I started getting offers from cosmetic companies, skincare companies to influence for them. So my Instagram channel is very successful for that. And then I would say about 80% of my coaching business comes from Facebook. So I would say between those three platforms, it really depends on what part of my business we're talking about.
Sounds like you can control and direct your business based on the platform and based on your interests, so they don't get mixed together so much. And that's ideal, I think. Very good job.
Yeah, it's really important. I mean, when I talk to coaches about understanding their marketing, that's an incredibly important key is understanding your demographics. I'm 53, but I know that on TikTok, my audience is from 25 to 35. It seems shocking. Like, what do they want from me? But there's an interest. There's a wisdom that they're looking for. In my Instagram model, they're 35 to about 45. So they're looking for something different. My Facebook model is also looking for something different. And so that's fine. You can have different aspects of your business, but just know what content you're pitching to what person.
So I think you answered the next question is, do they seem to have high value? And obviously, in your case, they do.
Absolutely. Not only do I get customers from those platforms, but those platforms in my case are also monetized. So every time I post content, I have the potential to make money. Now, it's not an exorbitant amount of money, but hey, isn't it nice to know that you're not just posting videos for no reason?
And here's a question. What if there were a platform that would triple or 10x your monetization capability? Would that be of interest to people that are coaches out there?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I think that's one of the things that I'm excited about. And that's one reason I do the influencer podcast, because being aware of what's coming and what's available to coaches who are influencers, the horizon is very bright. And I'm looking forward to sharing that with all my coaches and all my influencer people. So keep your eyes open. Anybody who's listening that's a coach or podcast leader, a host, an influencer of any type, there's things on the horizon. So it's good news. Let's move into the question of how do you deliver the 5-star client experience, Angel?
Well, we do a great intake, first of all. I have a long intake process, which ultimately helps me to get the ideal client and the ideal results. I think that that's a lot of times where people fail, is that they get so desperate to take on any client. You're going to have a high failure rate if you don't have a great intake. So that's the beginning. And then the first day is we do an assessment. So I do an intake and then I do an assessment. The intake is for me, the assessment is for the client. So then once we do the assessment, we both have an idea of where we're going to go. My assessment is a map, and that map allows us to create our travel plan. And ultimately, as the weeks go by, we get to those travel destinations. And if we don't get to all of the destinations, well, then I have a repeat client.
I like it. I like it. That's great. How do you convert your clients that are beginning with you, they've been with you a while, into a brand ambassador?
I think the most important thing to that is authenticity. I serve as a brand ambassador as well. And sometimes I get products that I do not love. And I approach the brand and I say, hey, I didn't love this. Do you still want me to do a review on this? And so there's a sense of authenticity. I get to ask my clients, hey, how are you doing? I ask that at every stage. Like, how are we doing? How are you feeling about our relationship? Do you feel like you're progressing? And so a quarter, midway, 3/4, and at the final destination, I'm constantly taking the temperature of our relationship. Ultimately, that creates a sense of, I don't want to say camaraderie, but a sense of accomplishment, a sense of achievement, that it just catches fire.
I'd be a brand ambassador. I think that would be something that would be good to be in your case for you. You sound like you really know what you're doing, and it would be easy to recommend and to support what you're doing, Angel. Tell me about your grateful nature. What today are you grateful for?
Gosh, it's so huge. I can't sum it up in one word or even one sentence. I'm grateful for my entire life. Every breath that I take, every moment that I'm not depressed, every moment that I feel a sense of love and beauty and goodness, which can happen every day, even in a crazy world.
So you're saying, even though you came through the valley of the shadow and you felt like you were going to die, things today are just fine, and what happened in the past doesn't really run your life.
Absolutely. That is a wonderful way to phrase it. I think that when you've had moments where you wake up and wonder why you're on the planet, the days that you wake up and know why you're on the planet are that much sweeter.
Oh, we want to know then, talking about waking up, how do you start your day?
I start my day with gratitude, and I definitely start my day with quiet. I can get caught up, like so many other people in the world, with leaving my phone in my room charging by the side of my bed. Big mistake. I usually try to either charge my phone outside of my bedroom or on the total other side of the room where it's going to take some kind of effort to look at it. So I just start my day by opening up my eyes and saying, thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Tell me, what's your next goal and how do you plan to achieve it?
I'm currently in my next goal. So I am currently adopting influencing into my overall business model. I realize that I've left a ton of money on the table, and I don't know why I did that. I don't know why. I just didn't necessarily take it as seriously as I could. And so I'm definitely incorporating a lot more influencing into my business. From a physical goal, I've begun intermittent fasting. So I always have a body, mind, and spirit goal. And my spirit goal is meditation, like a daily meditation.
So if you overcome a challenge and you're successful, how do you go about doing that? What's your method of overcoming challenges?
Whew, I think every challenge is like a human being. It comes as an individual thing. And so just like some people need to be spoken to in a certain way, some people need to be cut off, some people need to be shaken. I think challenges are very much like that. Every challenge is unique. And so mostly it starts with me centering myself and knowing that I can handle the challenge, just like I know I can handle any person that comes in my space.
Well, let's consider that there's a income generating idea, and you really nailed it with the idea of being an influencer who monetizes. How do you convince your significant other, uh, your business partners, your best friends to go along with your decision?
My significant other is one of the most incredible human beings in my life. He's super influential in my life, and he's also ultra successful on the financial end of things. And so I'm laughing because he's constantly pushing me to to go after being more secure in my finances, to go after the bag, to go after making more money, to demand what I'm worth. And so convincing him can be a tongue twister. It can be, I still get nervous around him, even though he's my number one fan, because I know that whatever I put out there, he's going to go, you should ask for more, double it. You know, he's my greatest cheerleader and my biggest challenge. So, it's not always a matter of convincing him. It's a matter of getting his advice and and trusting his discernment. So I definitely go to him as my partner and also as a mentor of sorts.
Sounds like it's not your ball and chain, but your hot air balloon.
Oh my gosh, my rocket.
We don't want to talk about balloons these weeks, do we?
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
How has the paid digital media played a part in your success as far as ads on Facebook or uh, LinkedIn, things like that?
So I think a couple of years ago, Facebook ads really worked. I have not used Facebook ads in probably about 2 years, and they worked remarkably well. I also have a book out called Too Happy to Be Sad Girl, and it's available on Amazon. So I did Amazon ads as well. Um, Amazon was a little bit more of a difficult beast to get into, but I definitely had great success with Facebook. And of course, Facebook is Meta, and so we're talking about Facebook and Instagram together. Um, Super successful on especially on the purchasing of that book. So I think in understanding your price point, your profit margin, and really being able to work with somebody that understands that, those kind of paid media ads can generate really good income.
Would you say that there's a specific amount, a detail, how much you would say people should spend percentage wise of their revenue on these paid digital media?
I can't speak to a percentage because everyone's business is different. Um, but you definitely want to make sure that you're considering what your actual profit margin is after you have done all your sales, all your production of materials, and everything else.
All righty, good advice. But what advice would you give the young person yourself when you were 20, perhaps, knowing what you know now?
I would just say it's going to be okay. You're going to go through some madness. Literally, you're going to have some really, really hard times, but you pull through. You are made for this.
Do you have a living mentor, and what is their impact on you?
I kind of mentioned him already, but he's definitely a mentor to me. My partner in life, my significant other, my love. He is just a brilliant man, a generous, caring person, and I mean generous in every way. In most of all, his intellectual property, which I just think his brain is a massive computer index of all kinds of things. So yeah.
So is this a secret person or a public person?
He's not a secret. He's not on social media though, so that's kind of also unique. You know, he's got a private life. He's not a secret person, but he's got a private life.
I gotcha. Now, tell us this. Why is being impactful important to you?
Oh my gosh. Being impactful is important because it reminds me that we are all connected, and that if I can impact someone who's next to me, ultimately the chain will go around, not just to me, but it will hit people that I know and love.
Is there a thing all when it's all said and done? Is there a thing you want to be remembered for?
I want to be remembered for helping people to connect to what's true.
I think that's enough said. In the few minutes we have remaining, I want you to be sure and give us some links or some connection points to you, your podcast, your coaching.
Absolutely. So I have a website called angelawakened.com, and you can find my book, Too Happy to Be Sad Girl, on Amazon. My social media channels are Instagram, Angel Awakened, TikTok, Angel Awakened, Facebook, Angel Awakened.
So Angel Awakened is branded, and you can find Angela Villa there, here, over there, everywhere. That's good. Tell me, what would be your comments about being on our show today, Angel?
Oh, it was smooth. It was fantastic.
Well, we sure enjoyed having you on. You have been eloquent, you have been entertaining and educational. So I'm sure this is a prelude to many getting to know you better, and that you're going to influence a lot of our audience, because what you've offered sounds like something a lot of people need. I want to give you the final word and just let you go and tell us, what do you think is the thing that you need to let the world know through Influencer Podcast?
Well, I just wanted to remind everyone that we're all influencers. Just like I was kind of shocked to find that at 50, I was a beauty influencer. I want you all to know that someone's watching you, you are influencing someone, and that you matter.
Okay, well, you matter. And I think that that's what everyone wants to hear. They want to know that they do matter, that they made a difference in the world. Like we've always heard, did I love, did I laugh? And did I enjoy life, or did I just let it pass by sitting on the sidelines? So I think that we can all say that the half hour we spent with Angel Aviles was worthwhile. And I thank you for being on the Influencer Podcast. I wish you well and look forward to many more conversations, Angel.
Thank you so much, Dr. Bill. I appreciate you.
All right. You're sure welcome. Well, we want to say thank you to our audience for being on the Influencer Podcast today, and stay tuned for many more broadcasts, and look up us on LinkedIn, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube, and put comments, join us, and be part of our show. We look forward to talking to you soon. Y'all take care. This is Dr. Bill Williams on the Influencer Podcast, coming live from Atlanta, Georgia.